Okay, folks, we're back. It's been a while. This project has been taking me a lot longer to videotape. I'm sorry for the delay. I've had a lot of work here around the farm and trying to get my house, outside of my house, painted. I'm doing it on my own, and I finally finished it this week. So we're going to go ahead and start doing a few things. One thing I did do is I made the antlers offline. I made them much thinner than what you would normally see. The reason for that, they were way too thick, but you can tell all the different directions, they're going into. They have a little bit of a curvature to them, but to do these, you really just need to take your time and whittle them down to where you want them to be. There is no right or wrong way of doing it. You just have to take your time with it and work on it. And so I took about an hour to thin these down quite a bit. I don't think I'm going to do too much more to it because it can get brittle, and I don't want it to get too bad here. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a white-tailed deer tail here for the deer. So we're going to cut that out, and we're also going to cut out his feet. Now I start on this side. Their feet are kind of small, so we're going to bring this down a little bit. And what you want to do is you just want to make a stop cut. Now you want to be very careful. Oh, one of the other things I also did with this, we had scooped it out, right? You see how different this ear looks versus this one? All I did was take my knife and I trimmed down that hard edge that you see, just like so. Alright? Now, if my hands look a little dirty, I still have some stain on it from the house. It's hard to get off. Today I spent the mowing. I've kind of missed the mowing for the last month here and trying to pick up the leaves and stuff, so it's been a very busy week. But right in here, what I do is I put a little V cut right there where the ear goes in a little deeper, just to give it some depth. Okay, but I just kind of smooth this out a little bit. Now if it's not deep enough, you just go back and dig it out a little bit with your V tool. But I think I'm pretty well done with the head, the eyes, and the antlers, and the ears. I'll spruce it up a little bit when I'm offline. One thing we're going to do, we're going to put in his feet here, and this was the next project. And he's sitting, of course, so we're going to do that as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a stop cut going around like so. Alright, and then taking our tool and our knife and cutting that out. Now we're also going to have a little bit of a hoof on this side, so we're just going to maybe make a 3/8 of an inch. You'll see in a second. And we're just going to dig down to that. Okay? Just going to, that's exactly what we're going to do. Just like so. Okay? So the hoof is sitting out. And we're going to give it, let me see here how I had this. Yeah, that's about right. Okay? So we're just going to bring this hoof up around. They're kind of small. This one looks a little bigger, so I'm going to have to proportion it a little bit better. Alright. And same thing, we're going to take it down to that line. We're just going to follow that line a little bit. Now we're going to cut towards that. Like a big V cut. Alright. And you can go a little deeper on the bottom portion. Alright. Now, I want you to know, this has been one of the longer projects I've had for a while. I'm just measuring that foot's a little shorter, so we're going to bring this down just a tad. Can't make the other one longer, of course, so I'm going to just bring this down a little bit. Alright, now, in the front we're going to have his legs are really thin, so what I went ahead and did this portion, of course, right, and we dug that out. I think we did that on the last video. Alright, and you want to make that distinct. Alright, this project was a little more involved because of the antlers, you know, and doing it straight from a block. Okay, so we're going to make a center cut all the way down to the hoofs here, and we're going to put a little V cut at the top here. Or you can put a stop cut in first if you're more comfortable, and then put your V cut on either side. I'm going to make that really distinct. Okay. Now, like I said, with caricatures, you don't, you know, it's not proportioned correctly anyway, so we're not worried about proportioning their body exactly to what it should be. Caricatures are fun that way. You can over exaggerate something, or, you know, that's what makes them very, very fun to do. Alright, so we're going to take this down a little bit further. Just like so. Alright, good. And we're going to take this out a little bit. I'm just going to trim this down a little bit because I'm just not happy with how fat he is. Deer in general are not fat animals. Yeah, they're very lean. So we're going to trim some of this down a little bit. Okay. When you don't use it for a while and you handle it a lot like I did the last month, you get a little darker. So make sure when you go to clean it up later, make sure you either wash that off, or it's better to just sliver it off like I'm doing here to clean it up a little bit. Sometimes using something to clean it isn't always the best, but we're going to take this off a little bit here. We're just rounding off the body a little bit. And also in here. Alright. And right down at the bottom here, we're going to just round that off a little bit. Okay, just round it off. There we go. There's a bit of a mess here, so we're going to clean that up. One of the hard things I think for beginners is not sticking that knife in too far and making clean cuts, and that only comes by practicing and getting the feel of the knife. You know, sometimes one side will be easier to do than the other, but take heart, it's okay. You don't have to worry about it too much. But let me go ahead and finish this off. Let me start another video here. We're almost out of time on this one, and we'll be right back.